as you can see, I responded very well to the HCG as my testosterone levels shot from 2.8 nmol to 32.4. That's a 1057% increase. So I went from the female range to the top of the men's range. What's up folks, it's Uranus, we're in Brussels, welcome to another video. Today we're talking about HCG and more in particular HCG monotherapy. So HCG can be used as a solo form of hormonal replacement therapy in men suffering from low testosterone. With HCG or human chorionic gonadotropin, it's your own testicles producing the testosterone as the product mimics LH, a hormone normally produced by your pituitary gland and sent to your testicles to start producing testosterone. It's not very common, but some doctors will prescribe HCG monotherapy as solo therapy, and in certain circumstances like my own, it's actually highly recommended. I was on HCG monotherapy for multiple years, so we're gonna talk about the pros, the cons, my experience, and I will share you my blood work so we can actually see how my levels evolved on this kind of treatment. Alright, let's get to it. C'est parti. So first of all, why was I put on HCG monotherapy in the first place? So to summarize, I never naturally went through puberty. Because of problems at birth, my pituitary gland, which is responsible for the production of a lot of hormones, doesn't work properly, and the signals sent to my testicles, which normally would have activated around age 12 or 13 to start producing testosterone and inducing puberty, well, it never happened. So at 25, I decided it started to becoming a man, and I started seeing endocrinologists, and because of fertility concerns and because of my young age, they put me on HCG. Now, I had testosterone levels of 80 nanograms per deciliter or 3 nmol. Super low. Normally, endocrinologists would prescribe testosterone replacement therapy and add small doses of HCG alongside that for fertility and keeping your testicles working. But in my case, I still needed to go through puberty, and that's why I was put on HCG only. HCG doesn't work, by the way, if you have primary hypogonadism. So if unfortunately you had an accident and your testicles got damaged, or unfortunately you had cancer, or you had one of them removed, or any other problem down there, it's not going to work. HCG will do absolutely nothing for you. HCG mimics luteinizing hormone in the body. So it tells your testicles to produce the sweet stuff. So originally I started out on one injection of 1500 units every 5 or 6 days, but then I switched to 1500 every 3.5 days, so twice per week. Normally on TRT, endos will add you a much smaller dose on HCG on your TRT protocol for fertility, but here I was relying only on the HCG for my testosterone production, and then you need much bigger dosages, so 3000 IUs per week. This protocol actually got me through puberty for the first 2.5 years of my transformation and getting into adulthood in my late 20s. All of the changes that normally happen during puberty started happening once I was on HCG monotherapy. So lowering of the voice, more body hair, beard, different body shape, smelling like a dog, and the libido stuff, and so on. All of that happened once I was on HCG monotherapy. So this is my body when I started, and that's 2.5 years later. I responded very well to HCG monotherapy because I had never naturally produced any testosterone before. My LH and FSH were undetectable, so it had a major impact on my life and on everything with my body. Back then, by the way, I was already working out 4 or 5 times per week, and I was accurately tracking my macros. I used hundreds and hundreds of vials and ampoules of this stuff, as you can see on these pictures. I'm one of those people that actually keeps things around for no particular reason. Girlfriend hates it, by the way. So I kept all the HCG boxes that got me through puberty as a souvenir before I had to throw them away. Of course, sometimes you need to throw shit away. So now the pros. Well, first of all, increasing testosterone levels. We'll go over my blood work in a minute. Secondly, your testosterone is being produced by your own testicles. By that mechanism, it's a more natural process than taking exogenous testosterone replacement monotherapy. Because it's your own testicles doing all the work, they also keep a nice full size and your loads are bigger. Before I started HCG monotherapy, I actually shot blanks. Couple of weeks after starting treatment, I started to feel a big increase in testicular size and I actually wet myself for the first time. Can't actually believe I'm saying this in front of a freaking camera. Keep in mind, my case is quite unique. Normal people go through puberty once they're like 13 years old or something like that. For me, it's different. And because of the HCG, my testicles down there actually started freaking working for the first time. They were incredibly small before starting, and then weeks after weeks, they increased in size. Lastly, HCG can have a very good impact on your libido. Now let's go over some of my blood work. So here I'm actually showing you my testosterone levels before starting this treatment. This is, I think, my very first or second test I ever took. My testosterone levels before starting were 2.8 nmol. That equals to about 80 nanograms per deciliter. Extremely low. Now these are the results a couple of months after starting. As you can see, I responded very well to the HCG as my testosterone levels shot from 2.8 nmol to 32.4. That's a 1057% increase. So I went from the female range to the top of the men's range. 32 nmol equals to a bit over 900 nanograms per deciliter. Now, what are the cons or the negative effects of HCG monotherapy? Well, first of all, estrogen management. On HCG monotherapy, you will convert more of your testosterone into estrogen. There is more intratesticular aromatization going on, and especially if you are overweight, this can be a real concern and have consequences. Fat cells promote aromatization. When I was bulking on HCG monotherapy, I would sometimes start to feel like shit and completely lose my libido and my erections. I only found out later that this was because of estrogen side effects, because the doctors I was seeing at the time didn't care much for estrogen in men. They told me estrogen is only relevant for women, which is completely stupid. But HCG and HCG monotherapy can cause imbalances in your estrogen and can spike your estrogen because of the intratesticular aromatization. Continuing on the estrogen topic, and it's really hard explaining this, but aromatase inhibitors like arimidex will not work very well to keep your estrogen under control on HCG monotherapy. At one point I switched doctors and that new endocrinologist put me on anastrozole in my new protocol, and it didn't change a thing about the estrogenic side effects that I had. I believe this is because of the intratesticular aromatization. So keeping estrogen under control, even with aromatase inhibitors, will not work really well. I would never recommend HCG monotherapy for a person that is overweight or obese, because you simply won't be able to keep the estrogen levels under control. Then there's a couple of other cons too. Not everyone responds this well to HCG monotherapy, and people respond differently to HCG. You inject 100 milligrams of testosterone into your ass, that's 100 milligrams right there. When you take HCG, you actually cannot guess how much testosterone your testicles are going to produce. So it's less accurate, and it's a little bit more guessing work, and it's more difficult to get dialed in too. So it's definitely not for everyone. Then there's the availability topic. In my country, I've been on HCG monotherapy for 2.5 years, and it's been really difficult to keep up with the HCG in the pharmacies and so on. It has been a constant fight, and at one point it simply got impossible to get any more HCG, and I had to switch to TRT for a couple of months, and eventually I stayed on TRT. The product is known to be quite volatile on the market here, and now actually it's been completely removed and replaced by another one, but availability is always an issue with HCG. I think it's the same thing in the United States and in other countries. Getting your HCG can sometimes be a problem, and especially if you're only relying on HCG for your testosterone production, that can be a major problem with monotherapy. Then there's the pricing issue. It can also be a problem. When I was on HCG monotherapy, it's already years back by the way, I would pay a little bit less than 10 euros for 3 ampoules of 1500 I use. Now it's 5 times the price for the same freaking amount. So pricing, you definitely have to take that into consideration too. I still find it quite funny that I actually went through puberty because of a product that is extracted from the urine of pregnant ladies. So something extracted from urine got me through puberty. I still can't exactly wrap my head around it. Anyway, would I recommend HCG monotherapy as a form of HRT? Well, if you are in my case and you still need to go through puberty, your body never properly developed your testicles, never produce any testosterone, you still need all the changes from the androgens, including dick growth, I would absolutely recommend HCG monotherapy because it's a more natural process of going through puberty instead of just starting TRT. For anyone else, I think it's worth giving a shot to it, especially if you have fertility concerns, but in the long term, I don't think it's viable because you will probably have a difficult time keeping your estrogen under control. Anyway, this was my take and my experience on HCG monotherapy. Ending it here. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Uranus out.